Your brand new iPhone deserves the best protection, and the iLune 3-pack screen protector plus 3-pack camera lens protector has you covered. Don't take risks with your iPhone. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Last words of double murderer Brad Sigmund, executed by firing squad, as he was left gasping after being shot 3 times. The last words of the double murderer, executed by firing squad, as he was left gasping, have been revealed. Brad Sigmund, 67, was the first person to choose execution by firing squad in 15 years, and faced his lethal punishment on Friday night. Sigmund died after 3 special bullets were shot at his heart by 3 volunteer riflemen at the South Carolina Department of Corrections in Columbia. The killer's last words have been revealed, as he spoke 4 Bible quotes that he believed showed that nowhere does God in the New Testament give man the authority to kill another man. He said, "I want my closing statement to be one of love and a calling to my fellow Christians to help us end the death penalty. An eye for an eye was used as justification to the jury for seeking the death penalty. At that time, I was too ignorant to know how wrong that was." He ended his speech with, "We are now under God's grace and mercy." Sigmund took 2 deep breaths a mere few seconds before the order was given to fire. A bullseye target showed the executioners where to shoot as they took aim from 15 ft away behind a curtain. All 3 gunmen opened fire at the same time, in front of about a dozen witnesses. His arms are said to have briefly tensed as he was shot, and the target was blasted off his chest before he appeared to give another breath or 2 as a red stain spread across his chest. A doctor emerged a minute after the 3 shots and examined Sigmund for a minute and a half, before declaring him dead at 6:08 p.m. "I want my closing statement to be one of love and a calling to my fellow Christians to help us end the death penalty. An eye for an eye was used as justification to the jury for seeking the death penalty. At that time, I was too ignorant to know how wrong that was. Why? Because we no longer live under the Old Testament law, but now live under the New Testament." Matthew 5:38-39 says, "You have heard that it has been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you that you do not resist an evil person. Whosoever shall smite me on the right cheek, turn to him the other one as well." Romans 6:14, "For sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are no longer under the law but under grace." Nowhere does God in the New Testament give man the authority to kill another man. That is why the Bible is divided into the Old Testament and the New Testament. Remember the words of Jesus, John 7:19, "Did not Moses give you the law? Yet none of you keep with the law." We are now under God's grace and mercy. The criminal was convicted of beating to death with a baseball bat his ex-girlfriend's parents, David and Gladys Lark, at their Taylor's home in 2001. He chose the firing squad over the electric chair or lethal injection, which he feared would cook him alive or make it feel like he was drowning. The death row inmate of 23 years wore a black jumpsuit with a hood over his head as he was strapped into a chair. Gerald Bo King, Sigmund's lawyer, said the decision was because he feared a lack of transparency could be covering up how painful these methods really are. Sigmund made a last gasp for life on Wednesday when he pleaded with the Supreme Court to halt his execution. He argued that South Carolina's refusal to disclose information about its lethal injection procedure violates his due process rights. Gerald Bo King, Sigmund's lawyer, said it took around 20 minutes for the last 3 men executed in the state to die from the lethal injection. He said Sigmund faced an impossible choice between bullets that will break the bones in his chest and destroy his heart, and having his lungs filling with blood and fluid after the injection. Bo also said Sigmund avoided the chair because he feared it would burn and cook him alive. A group of protesters holding signs with messages such as "All life is precious" and "Execute justice, not people," gathered outside the prison before Sigmund's execution. Sigmund pulped the couple in April 2001, just a week after breaking up with their daughter, Rebecca Barber. He and Rebecca had been in a relationship for around 3 years, living in a trailer park near David and Gladys's home. After a night of crack cocaine and drinking, Sigmund told a friend he was going to get Becky for leaving him and would tie her parents up, according to court documents. When Rebecca took her kids to school, Sigmund showed up at her parents' house armed with a baseball bat. He bludgeoned them alternately, striking each 9 times over the head. David's skull was almost broken in two, the court heard during the 2002 trial. Sigmund then stole David's gun and waiting for Rebecca to get back. He marched her into the car at gunpoint, but she managed to escape, fleeing as he blasted shots in her direction, according to the court docs. The murderer fled the state, but was captured after 11 days on the run in Tennessee. When he was arrested, Sigmund told detectives he had planned to murder Rebecca and then turn the gun on himself. He said, "I couldn't have her. I wasn't going to let anybody else have her." Just 3 convicts have been executed by firing squad in the U.S. since 1976, and all of them in Utah. Rebecca, Sigmund's ex, told USA Today she does not believe in the death penalty, but that he should answer for what he's done. By Patrick Harrington, foreign news reporter. The 3 most recent executions in South Carolina were by lethal injection, and the cases have sparked controversy. It took around 20 minutes before each of the 3 men were officially declared dead. Complicating the situation is a law passed in 2023, which restricts much of the information about executions being made public. It requires the identities of execution team members remain secret and forbids the publication of information about how the drugs are bought by the state. This follows a growing number of pharmaceutical companies refusing to sell their drugs to be used in executions. The American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, filed a lawsuit challenging the state law in January. It wrote, "This ban not only further departs from the state's history of making execution-related information publicly available, but criminalizes the disclosure of this information by anyone for any reason. It thus silences the scientists, doctors, journalists, former correctional officials, lawyers, and citizens who have scrutinized the safety, efficacy, morality, and legality of South Carolina's use of lethal injection." The state has released only one of 2 available autopsies from the recent executions, and Brad Sigmund's lawyers say it shows an unusual amount of fluid in the man's lungs. Randy Gardner, brother of Ronnie Lee Gardner, the last man to be killed by firing squad in the U.S., has slammed the fact the method still exists. He said, "I think it's horrendous. I think it's very barbaric. I didn't witness my brother's execution, but I got to see his body after. I've got the autopsy photos of what it looked like, and it's just mutilated my brother's body. I think it's terrible." Randy said he is against capital punishment entirely, adding, "To me, it's revenge." The majority of executions in South Carolina are by electrocution, though the 3 most recent were by lethal injection. But it has posed some issues. Some states have struggled to get hold of the required drugs due to an EU ban on selling them. And in some cases, executioners have found it difficult to hit a vein with the needle. In January, autopsy reports revealed that convicts suffered pain similar to the sensation of drowning as they were executed with the injection. Citing the reports, the U.S. Department of Justice withdrew its lethal injection protocol for federal executions. There are just 5 states nationwide that still offer the death method.